Star Wars Rogue One is a film about a ragtag bunch of outlaws and misfits who embark on a dangerous mission with seemingly no return, who discover along their journey that friendship is magic. The particular mission that they embark on is to steal the plans for the Death Star. If you've ever followed the Star Wars Expanded Universe, you're probably aware that the theft of the Death Star plans is the most overtold story in the entire Expanded Universe history. So many people have been said to have stolen the Death Star plans that the official line was that each person had only stolen a piece of the plans, and that Princess Leia put them all together aboard the Tantive IV. At one point, so many characters had stolen pieces of the Death Star plans, it became an inside joke to LucasArts writers. Hey, let's have this guy also steal the Death Star plans, because, I don't know, fuck our fans. I just want to take a moment here and remember things before Rogue One wiped the slate clean and rubbed out all these brilliant stories. As I mentioned in my review of X-Wing and TIE Fighter, the story of X-Wing dips in and out of the events seen in A New Hope. During his second tour of duty, Rebel pilot Kian Farlander has to protect Lambda Shuttle Maria as it carries a physical copy of the intercepted Death Star plans to be delivered to Princess Leia aboard the Tantive IV. Kian then attempts to protect the Tantive IV as it escapes during a fierce space battle. But where did those plans come from? I will always remember the Death Star plans being originally stolen by Kyle Katarn on the first level of Dark Forces. The mission briefing calls the retrieval of the plans Operation Skyhook. It sees Kyle infiltrate an Imperial facility and steal the plans from a computer archive, while his pilot, Jan Ors, creates a distraction. Dark Forces features an ex-Imperial defector, a Rebel ace pilot, a high-ranking Imperial officer overseeing a new Imperial superweapon, and a never-seen-before dark-armoured stormtrooper. During the surprisingly good Deadly Alliance, mercenary Rhianna Saren works with Kyle Katarn, but she ends up being captured and thrown into an Imperial prison on a planet called Despair, where she learns about the newly completed Death Star. Tarkin is celebrating the completion of the Death Star by testing the super laser on Despair. Firing the super laser at only a 30% charge, the resulting chain reaction triggers immense earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which leads to the complete sterilization of the planet. Escaping just in time, Rhianna informs the rebellion that the plans are being held on the planet Danuta. Rebel leadership decides an all-out attack is too costly, instead sending Saren and Kyle Katarn separately to infiltrate the facility and steal the plans. But somehow, before all of this, a prison breakout aboard the newly finished Death Star sees some unnamed rebel stealing a set of plans and beaming them down to the planet Polis Massa, putting an end to any argument of, well, why didn't the Empire just keep the plans for the Death Star on the Death Star? The breakout is put down in a violent finale of blaster fire and lightsaber combat, with the rebels being ultimately defeated after a huge surface battle on Polis Massa. The Empire's newest phase of dark-armoured stormtroopers aids in crushing the rebels, but against all odds, the plans still make it out. Bookending the entirety of this Operation Skyhook sits this 4X strategy game, Empire at War. During the Rebel campaign, Captain Antilles incepts the initial plans after a raid on an Imperial facility. Later in the Imperial campaign, it turns out that some of the Death Star security codes were leaked to the rebels from the Bothan spy net. This leads the Emperor himself going down to Botha Ui and slaughtering loads of Bothans. So next time somebody tells you that actually many Bothans died to deliver information for the Death Star too, you can give them the, actually. I think we owe an honourable mention to our old pal Starkiller here. In The Force Unleashed, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa and Garm Bel Iblis all end up being captured and held on the Death Star whilst it's still being built. Canonically, they are the first Imperial people ever to see the Death Star. After their escape with the help of Galen Marek, they receive reports, presumably from Rhianna Saren, of what the Death Star is and is capable of. And so begins Operation Skyhook, the mission to steal the Death Star plans. In fairness, most of these stories grate against one another. Even die-hard fans like me can agree that it's a jumbled mess. So in one way it's good that Rogue One wiped that slate clean. We've been given a more concise story. I just think Disney could have used these ideas a bit more rather than just sort of cloning the set pieces or the situations. I mean, I would have killed for a Kyle Katarn cameo in Rogue One, but I suppose it just wasn't meant to be. Thanks very much for watching. For more Star Wars gaming videos, please subscribe to The Game Show.
Perfect.